From stealing the ball on the court to stealing their teammates' wives off it, here are the top NBA players that slept with their teammates' wives. Unfortunately, all the fame has led to allegations being made against a limited number of NBA players, and some dark secrets have been made public. Like just to think that an email was the end for the Hibberts. The Indiana Pacers had established a respectable team earlier this decade, with Paul George and Roy Hibbert leading the way. Following the Pacers' poor performance in the 2014 playoffs, speculations began to circulate. A remark made by teammate Lance Stevenson drew everyone's attention. George and Hibbert's wife had apparently been cheating on social media. Baller Alert's gossip column released an anonymous email it received about the issue. Apparently, there was talk going around that Roy was struggling on the court, and apparently, it all started when he had a falling out with someone. Word was, Paul George and Hibbert's wife had been chatting it up on Instagram for a while, which eventually led to them hooking up. But then she came clean to Hibbert about it, and that's how the whole thing came to light. It was pretty messed up because Paul and Hibbert used to be tight, but that's how it goes. Great friendships end in a snap, and that's what broke up the Bulls duo too. The Chicago Bulls of the 1990s were led by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, a competitive combo you probably know. Who may be the lady in question here? None other than the young Madonna herself. The pop singer used to sit front and center, staring at Mr. Pippen as Jordan looked at her. According to a former assistant coach at the time, Madonna used to pick him up in a limo with a hot tub every single time he traveled to LA with Pippen. The details aren't that clear, but there was clearly something going on that people believed was worth discussing. People talk, that's just what they do. Now imagine how much worse it would be if it was on the news. Just ask Barnes and Fisher about the time they were on the New York Post. So get this, Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher used to play together on the Lakers, but then Fisher retired and became the coach for the New York Knicks. Meanwhile, Barnes was playing forward for the Memphis Grizzlies. Here's where things get messy. Barnes had just split up with his wife, Gloria Govin, who you might recognize from Basketball Wives LA. Well, turns out she was seeing Fisher behind Barnes' back, and when Barnes found out, he was livid. He hopped in his car and drove all the way from Santa Barbara to LA to confront Fisher in Gloria's backyard with her family and friends around. One source even said Barnes was crazy and wanted to beat the crap out of Fisher. Now, Fisher didn't do anything technically wrong, but clearly Barnes took it super personally. And let's just say things got heated. The first step to change is accepting the flaw, or you could just deny it like Jim Jackson did. So back in the early 90s, there were these two ballers named Jim Jackson and Jason Kidd. Rumor has it that they were both seeing the same singer, Toni Braxton. Apparently, she showed up at a hotel where the Mavericks were staying to pick up Kidd for a date, but she ended up leaving with Jackson instead. No one knows if it's true or not, because Braxton never confirmed it, but both Jackson and Kidd got traded soon after. Jackson's still denying it all these years later, but he does seem to think it would have been pretty cool if it actually happened. In an interview with Colin Cowherd, he said he just laughs about it now and wishes it had been true so he could have bragged about it. But, well, rely on the maybe and say it's just a rumor that won't seem to go away. With that, you could always just let it go and forget about it, unless it's too big to forget. Say maybe Shaquille O'Neal's love affair. In 2010, allegations circulated that Shaquille O'Neal was having an affair with the fiancée of Wizards player Gilbert Arenas, Laura Govan. Emails between the 7-1 center and Govan were leaked, but they went into extensive detail about what they planned to accomplish. This prompted Shaq's wife, Shawnee, to petition for divorcing from him, claiming irreconcilable differences. Arenas would be out of the NBA at this time, and the alleged affair remains a mystery. Gilbert Arenas first denied that his girlfriend had slept with Shaq, but he appeared to change his tune later. Arenas had submitted his medical records as part of his defamation defamation claim against Govan. He alleged Govan defamed him by claiming he had an STD. Arenas retaliated by claiming that she had contracted an STD from Shaq. She, however, refused to provide her medical records as evidence of the lawsuit. But under all of this, Shaq's divorce really had me sad. Almost as sad as Tony Parker's divorce. Can you believe Tony Parker cheated on Eva Longoria with his teammate Brent Barry's wife? Like seriously, they were all friends. Longoria found out about it when she saw hundreds of texts between Parker and Aaron Barry. She was so done with him that she even got their wedding date tattoo removed from her wrist. Brent Barry also ended up getting a divorce. In an interview with Hello Magazine, Parker talked about the breakup and how hard it was for him. He's the kind of guy who really wants to make things work when he's in a relationship, but in this case, the media attention just got out of control. He didn't pay attention to the gossip and rumors, but with social media and the internet, everything gets blown up. It's crazy how Hollywood is on a whole different level. Things are bound to get messy, especially in the NBA where every game matters. One bad day and your entire team suffers. No one can forget when the LA Lakers took a hit because of Shannon Brown and Paul Gasol. So Paul was engaged to Silva Lopez Castro, and they seemed pretty happy. But during the 2011 playoffs, Paul's performance took a nosedive, and the Lakers got knocked out early. And get this, it turned out that Shannon was having an affair with Sylvia. I mean, sleeping with your teammate's girl is already messed up, but during the playoffs? That's low. Shannon denied the rumors on Twitter, saying she didn't sleep with Paul's girl, and that was the end of it. Talking about quick twists of events, I can't forget to mention Steve Nash's baby surprise. Okay, so this is a wild story, and I had to save it for last because it's just too bizarre and shocking. It involves Steve Nash, who used to play for the Phoenix Suns, and two of his teammates. So, get this, Nash filed for divorce from his wife the day after she gave birth to their baby. Heartless, right? But here's the twist. The baby was African American, and people started speculating that Nash wasn't the father. At first, they thought it was Leandro Barbosa, but then they switched to Jason Richardson. And get this, Richardson was traded just a few days after Nash announced the divorce. Nash only made one statement about the whole thing, saying it was a bittersweet moment for him and his wife, and that was his only comment. I mean, you can't blame the guy for not wanting to get into more detail. That must have been the worst day of his life. These were the NBA players that slept with their teammates' wives. See you in the next video.